I mean, let's be honest, Def Leppard very much were the Bob Dylan of the 1980s, weren't they?
Hello, and welcome to Maiden Voyagers, a podcast dedicated to chronicling the Iron Maiden discography. Well, sort of, maybe. I don't really know anymore, because in this week's episode, we are talking about Bruce Dickinson's second solo album, The Idiosyncratic Balls to Picasso. This is a follow-up to the previous episode, so this is a part 2. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, I recommend starting there for a history of the album's making before continuing here. But you know, you're an adult, you can make your own decisions. I'm not the boss of you. But with that out of the way, let's pick up where we left off.
This is a nice segue into the tracks, because is that fair? Did it deserve to tank, Sam?
Yes. End of episode.
Okay.
I think it's an interesting album. I think it's a good album. I don't think it's brilliant, but I think it's a good and fascinating album.
Well, shall we...
7 out of 10.
Done. Let's go into the tracks then, Sam. So, track 1.
Okay, well, you kick off with Cyclops.
Cyclops, yeah.
Which I assume is a piece about, I don't know, like the camera gaze on celebrities and media focus.
I think a little bit about a Big Brother surveillance-y kind of state.
Oh, okay, that would make sense.
Yeah, but I think both those interpretations sort of bleed into each other.
Yeah, there's kind of like a interweaving there. But I think like quite quickly, you said sort of the MO was groove, right?
Yeah.
Like immediately, this is groovy.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like quite a cool, lulling rhythm to the main riff of the song. The do 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 do, and like there's a big thick bass, which I know I keep saying Faith No More, but so much of this album feels informed by Faith No More to me.
Yeah, and also a little bit. You're right, Faith No More, but on the main riff there, down, 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 down. Is that a bit of talk box I hear as well?
Yeah, there is a little bit.
Alice in Chains, Man in the Box. Like,
yeah.
Wow.
Like
wow,
there's
wow.
a really strong grunge groove vibe to a lot of this, or like alt metal vibe to a lot of it. But yeah, I really like Cyclops. I think that's a really cool opener. I think the chorus with the vocal melody that kind of just matches along with that groove and mirrors it is surprisingly effective.
Yeah, and it seems the percussion is such a big part of this album.
Yeah.
Maybe worth giving a bit of a shout out for the drummer, who is the excellently named Doug Van Boeven.
Good name.
Yeah, who came as part of the Tribe of Gypsies.
A name that has aged terribly.
Doug Van Boeven.
No, but Tribe of Gypsies as a band name has not aged well.
Tribe of Travellers, we should call them. No, a Tribe of Roma people.
Yeah.
Would be better. But he's credited as playing the congas in Tribe of Gypsies.
Yeah, interesting.
I presume he also played drums.
But yeah, like percussively, this whole album has a lot more. Well, it just has a very varied feel to it compared to your standard rock or metal album, right? Like it's the same kind of drums and percussion approach you got with early Angra albums.
Yes.
Well,
yeah, and Bruce is an Angra fan, right?
That makes sense. Yeah. And so instead of just getting your standard sort of 4/4 typical drum beat stuff, you get wider percussion, right? Different instruments, congas, whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's so much more richness to that percussive approach that you don't see in rock and metal very often.
No, and yet Roy Z, because I feel like we probably, in America, they call him Roy Z, right? I tend to call him Roy Z, but that's very
Should we just call him Roy's?
Roy Z. Roy Z boy. Roy Z.
Yeah.
I feel like just can't stop writing heavy metal riffs.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? He's sort of in this quite funky, groovy band, Tribe of Gypsies, and yet you feel like he just desperately wants to be Judas Priest. Like
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
telling he goes on to do Halford solo later on. Right?
It's just an interesting contrast. And this is what I sometimes... The percussion elements and the interesting rhythms and things are really cool. And yet you feel like somewhere in here is just a quite basic heavy metal album desperately waiting to get out that's been dressed up in a way that makes it somewhat different.
But that's what makes it interesting.
Well, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, Bruce
I don't
Dickinson
dislike
doing
it.
a paint by numbers heavy metal album. Who cares? Like he's done plenty of heavy metal, but him doing a sort of grunge album or like heavy metal / grunge album informed by, South American percussion and rhythm is like, okay, that's a bit different.
So what were you saying about Cyclops as an opening track then?
It's a good track.
It's a good track.
I really like
it's a cool song. Yeah, I was disappointed it didn't make any appearances on the recent sort of reactivated Bruce Dickinson solo
I
song.
think it genuinely like one of the strongest tracks on the album.
Track 2 though, Hell No.
I like Hell No, but it doesn't really hit its stride until the chorus.
Yeah, it's an odd track 2 for me.
Yeah.
It feels like a track 8.
Yeah, it's a slow burner, and then it's got quite a cool, doomy, strong chorus.
It's also got quite a sort of good gospel inflected, like, hear the hell no.
Yeah.
Like it's like call and response type thing that I think's interesting. But yeah, I think there's some odd sequencing in this album, and it feels like a little bit of a momentum killer.
Yeah. Which is not what you want on track 2.
No, on track 2, because you're
like this cool, heavy opening.
Yeah, because Cyclops
and then,
is
like,
cool.
Sucking the wind out of it.
And there's a lot of talk, Bruce in the sort of build up to this, it's like, this is much heavier than anything I've done to Maiden. And it's like, yes and no.
Yeah.
We'll talk about more balls after this, but the production on the original is not an especially heavy production job, is it?
No, but
there's a lot of space, right, which is good and bad, because at points I do think it sounds a bit thin.
Yeah.
But then sometimes when you've got all this interesting rhythm stuff going over, and you sort of need that space to allow it to breathe a bit. But there are points where I do think, just turn up the distortion a bit on the guitars, get another guitar track there. Like, these riffs could have more impact if this just felt a bit fuller.
Yeah, I think
this is 94, remember? Right? Think about, Dirt doesn't,
if you think
by Us and
Dirt,
Trains doesn't sound thin.
No one thinks Dirt sounds thin, right? Like, the way Dirt's recorded is you have a guitar in the left channel, a guitar in the right channel, and then another one in the middle channel.
Yeah.
And it's just super dense.
And a part of me wonders if they've spent so much money on the...
We can't afford to double track anything.
It feels a bit rushed, right? I do think it feels a bit like, right, we just need to record this and get it out.
Yeah.
Which doesn't say it sounds shoddy, but it sounds a bit... Yeah, a little bit lightweight, the production, perhaps.
Yeah.
So Hell No is a bit of a... Yeah, some cool stuff.
It's all right.
Then we get to Gods of War, track 3.
I am less into this song.
Okay.
Personally.
I'm more into
Whereas
it than
I think
Hell
this
No.
is, for a lot of people, like a highlight of the album. I think it has some really cool moody verses. But the chorus is just Bruce like warbling wildly.
Yeah.
And,
That's what he does best, Sam.
no, but like there's not a discernible melody. It's just like, like
Gods of War.
yeah. I mean, it's incredible vocal gymnastics, but there's not like a melodic mast he's tied to.
This is another song that I think, not in its entirety, but there are definitely parts of this where you think this is quite Maiden-esque. I mean, particularly the lead guitar line, the
Yeah.
oh, you think that's kind of quite out of the Maiden playbook, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I like Gods of War, and also there's a lot of things in this album that lyrically feel like, I know we spoke about Fear of the Dark, that in terms of the lyrics, the band were moving towards a more kind of social realism, less fantasy type.
Football hooligans.
Yeah, football. Like the big issues of the early 90s.
Yeah.
Football hooliganism, AIDS. It feels like Bruce is taking this.
And then like also being horny on a motorbike.
Yeah, and also just
Real hard hitting social.
Motorbikes are sexy. All the big topics. But it feels like Bruce is making a point here of being much more mature. Right?
Yeah.
It's the 90s. It's like, you know what, guys? I know in The Trooper I said that fighting and it's like riding a horse and like being shot by a cannon sounds like a laugh, but actually war's really bad. So don't do it.
Which is fine, but I mean, like, it's not a unique viewpoint.
No, it does feel a little.
I mean, hell,
bit
even Def Leppard it's on Hysteria with Dogs of War, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Def Leppard very much were the Bob Dylan of the 1980s,
weren't they? Hey, man, I mean, I love Hysteria more than anything Bob Dylan's ever made, so...
Suck at that, Dylan. You can keep your Nobel Prize for Literature.
Having said that, again, tangent. Bob Dylan, obviously one of the greatest songwriters of all time.
He's playing Swansea this year.
Oh, cool.
Or next year, yeah.
But I can't stand his voice. So I can't listen to Bob Dylan sing Bob Dylan songs. But whenever I hear a Bob Dylan cover, it's like, oh, wow, this song is incredible. Oh, Bob Dylan wrote it. So what I would like is a Def Leppard covers album on Bob Dylan songs. That feels like it would bring things into a palatable space for me.
Produced by Mutt Lange.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Get Mutt back out.
Just like Def Leppard doing like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Blowing in the wind.
Great.
All along the Watchtower.
Hell yeah.
Ah, yeah, I could go for that.
That'd be great.
Mr. Tambourine Man.
I mean, it might be, a sign of art truly being dead. But I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, if capitalism hasn't killed art, Def Leppard covering Bob Dylan will.
Well,
let's do it.
There's a lot of lyrics in this album that are quite anti-capitalistic. I think there's a lot of stuff
for a man who's just spent like hundreds of thousands
squandered,
wasted on albums he couldn't finish because he had a change of heart
and recorded a load of albums with the Channel Islands
after years of huge after years of huge success with the biggest heavy metal bands of all time. Oh no, capitalism! It's like when the Beatles did Taxman, right? And it's like, oh, Taxman, Mr. Thief. It's like, yeah, because you're earning millions.
Well, yeah, but I think the Beatles are at least honest about it. They're like, we hate paying tax. I think Bruce here is trying to say that, oh no, you fat cats of you. Which actually brings us on nicely to 1,000 Points of Light, which again seems to be in a similar sort of takedown of, corporate greed.
Yeah.
Kind of rolling with the be quick or be dead type vibe lyrically.
And I should be clear. I don't think... I do think Bruce should be able to comment on these things with credibility. That's absolutely fine. They're fair things to have an opinion on. I just also think there's a slight vibe to some of the lyrics of this album of what's not necessarily popular, but what's in vogue to talk about. And what sounds mature to talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
As opposed to necessarily this is what I truly want to talk about. I can't argue with that really. I think some of it feels a little bit forced.
Yeah. When's the first Rage Against the Machine album come out? Around this time?
Yeah, sort of around here.
A couple of years before maybe. So, yeah, you're right. It feels a bit like trying to tap into zeitgeist in a way that doesn't necessarily always feel entirely sincere.
But having said that, 1,000 Points of Light, one of my favourite tracks on the album.
Yeah, great song.
Like proper highlights. The main riff really reminds me of Cult of Personality by Living Colour.
Yes, yeah.
Like that sort of cool spirally rhythm is great. And like a cool janky groove to it. I mean, I love Living Colour as well. Like, again, it feels like Bruce is kind of pulling from a few years ago in terms of
Living Colour is a great shout. There's a reference point for 1,000 Points of Light.
Particularly because around this time, Living Colour have gone much darker. Like they've had Vivid in 89, I think, and then you've got Time's Up, and I think the album around this time is Stained or something. And like they've got harder and heavier throughout that period. Definitely feels a little bit like Bruce is kind of pulling at that thread a tiny bit. But yeah, 1,000 Points of Light, cool riff, great chorus, really memorable song. Definitely one of the best tracks on the album. Definitely, I would say like one of the best Bruce solo tracks.
Wow, okay.
I really like 1,000 Points of Light.
I'll be honest, it wasn't actually until More Balls to Picasso came out and I listened to that a lot that I really gave this song much attention. But you're right, I should have given it more from the get-go.
I do think the More Balls version is very good as well.
It is.
We'll come on to that later.
Yeah, because that is one of the more different interpretations. So let's park that for the time being. It's a great song. And then we go into Laughing in the Hiding Bush. What a banger.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Roy Z riffing. Like, the man writes good riffs.
Well, there's such a nice light and shade between that main guitar riff and then these big spacey verses.
Yeah.
And then you've got like, a nice snarled chorus of like laughing in the hiding bush. And yeah, like we kind of touched on it earlier, but I really wonder why this didn't become the title track. Like it's worthy of being a title track to me.
And we talk about groove as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a hell of a groove. Or you say not even the title track. Why wasn't it a bloody single? Why is it track 5? Why is it track... why is it right bang in the middle of the album when you've had Hell No track 2? Like, there were some choices that are made.
Hell No is definitely like a near the end of the album,
Yeah.
slow burner kind of track.
In a way, I'd almost think Laughing in the Hiding Bush track 1, really, like... Just get that riff in, and people will be like, "Oh, wow, okay."
Yeah, I could see that.
And also, I think it encapsulates what Bruce is trying to do with the groove and the more
really
dynamics.
like Cyclops as an opener, though.
Yeah,
Because there's like a little bit of a
worst.
bait and switch before it goes into that heavy riff.
Yeah,
But yeah, I take your point.
and one of only 2 songs from this album that were played live on Bruce's most recent solo tour.
Yeah.
Other than the obvious. Annoyingly, we didn't get Laughing in the Hiding Bush in Swansea.
I mean, I wasn't there.
No. We got Road to Hell instead, though, so
I do like Road to Hell.
that's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. But I would like to see Bruce do Laughing in the Hiding Bush.
I'd just like to see Bruce. Please, Bruce, come back.
Well, that's what you get for having a child.
I won't have a child again. Come back.
Ever again. I'm so sorry.
Time it better.
And then we get on to... This is where it gets very odd for me. Well, I mean, what were we calling track 6, Change of Heart? Like Latino R&B AOR ballad?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. And I think I've got some thoughts, particularly about the More Balls version.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's definitely a South American radio pop ballad vibe to it. But it is a good song.
Yes, and did you know who Roy Z originally wrote this song for?
Is it going to be Halford or something?
No, it was because I don't believe Roy Z's even met Halford at this point. But that Rob Rock.
Oh, okay.
This was originally meant for him, apparently. So this is very much like a Roy Z composition, although slightly different lyrics. But there is a version later down the line that Roy Z does with Rob Rock, although it comes out under a band name, and the name of the band I've not written down.
That's interesting.
But yes, this was something that Roy Z had originally pitched for.
It's a bit of an odd fit for the album.
It is, yeah, because it's not a bad song.
I think it's a good power ballad, but
I wouldn't say it's a good power ballad. I think it's a
like 7 out of 10.
a competent power ballad.
Okay.
I would say. I think it lacks the real.
It's not Tears
killer.
of the Dragon.
No, it's not Tears of the Dragon. It's not Alone by Heart.
Yeah, although Alone by Heart is a cover.
But by who?
I can't remember the original artist, but it originally came out like a year before Heart did it, by like some much smaller band. And then Heart covered it and made it one of the greatest songs of all time. I mean, you could just
I was aware that
Wilson
wrote it, yeah, but
Ann Wilson can cover anything and it'll be the greatest song of all time. What a voice.
But yeah, Change of Heart is not of that. It's decent. It's competent. It's not of that quality.
Ann Wilson sang this. It would be great.
Oh, can you imagine if Heart did it?
Yeah.
Change of Heart. See, that's what it needs. I feel it's almost.
How has there never been a Bruce Dickinson Ann Wilson duet? That would be a fantastic powerhouse.
I've never known the worlds of Maiden and Heart even cross. I've never heard
I
them
don't
refer
think
to
they
each
have,
other.
But man, what a magical place that would be.
Yeah, but what a time. Because Heart have some interesting, it's like the guys in Alice in Chains and Heart seem very close and interesting. But yeah,
well, because they're Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle.
Yeah.
Then I've not seen Queensryche. I wrote with Heart, they're Seattle. So
No, that's true.
But yeah, A Change of Heart stands out in this album to me because it feels like so overly commercial.
Yeah, well,
And
you say
I
that,
like
but then what about
commercial.
the next song?
Well, yeah, Shoot All the Clowns.
That's a commercial sounding song. So much so that if I remember correctly, this song is recorded after everything else because the label wanted a single.
Yes, and specifically something that they said was like in the vein of Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Because this is Aerosmith, presumably on the back of Pump.
Yeah. I mean, this doesn't really sound like Aerosmith.
No, it doesn't sound like Aerosmith at all. And we are treated to Bruce Dickinson rapping.
Yeah, sort of infamous rapping.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's got a decent chorus.
Yeah, it's a fine song. It feels very B-sidey to me.
Yeah, I think that's a bit hard.
And considering it's like, is this the lead single from the album in the end? So they don't lead with Tears of the Dragon.
They might do.
Oh, maybe they do.
I think they might do. But it's one of the two singles we get. Yeah, we only get Shoot All the Clowns and Tears of the Dragon single. It's all right. I mean, Bruce rapping is weird.
Yeah.
It's not his forte.
If anything, this sounds the most Tattooed Millionaire song to me.
Yeah, in a weird way it is. Yeah. And
like sort of AOR-y, but cheesy. Like even cheesier than your...
And again, we'll get to it, but I think this is one of the songs that really benefits from the More Balls to Picasso makeover.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Like it really brings out something else.
My view on this song changes quite a lot.
Yeah. Because, this production, it does sound... there's something about the original performance where it feels like the band are doing it as an obligation. It just feels very lackluster, like boosting the shoot tune.
It
and even
just
the lyric is...
feels laconic.
Yeah.
Sort of...
That's the word.
Yeah,
that
just a bit phoned in.
But yeah, it is a single, so there you go.
Yeah.
We get to track 8, Fire. No, not your vibe?
This is where the album drags for me.
It does, like it is a bit...
It's not bad, but it's not as good as most of the rest of the album, and it just starts to feel like offcuts here.
It's got a fun riff though. The chorus I like because it's so idiosyncratic though. If you want to the fire, it just follows the lead guitar line. Na, 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 na,
Yeah.
It's like all. I feel like Bruce is channeling a little bit of Lane Staley of the slightly nasally, like kind of.
Yeah, but very. It's sort of like your dad doing an impression of Lane Staley.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
It's not.
I think not specifically my dad, but any dad, a proverbial dad. Professional place.
No, but it just doesn't quite work for me.
No.
I know exactly what you mean, but it's kind of like insincere.
Yeah, it's a bit,
Insincere is the wrong word, but it doesn't vibe.
I like the riff though. It's kind of like that Hell No thing you said. I like that sort of slightly fun, bluesy, idiosyncratic riff. But it feels like a kind of like a good jam.
Yeah.
I don't mind it, but you're right, it is quite forgettable. Going on to Sacred Cowboys. Now, you're pulling a face, Sam. For the listener at home, Sam is pulling a face, and
I don't have much of a poker face.
I'm going to really dispute that face, because Sacred Cowboy...
I have mixed thoughts, so it's not like a complete write-off.
Great verse riff. One of the most metallic verse riffs.
It's an extremely cool main riff.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. And I quite like the chorus.
I love the chorus.
But the actual verses themselves are just kind of like...
Okay, because we've got basically Bruce not rapping, but doing a sort of spoken word verse.
Yeah.
Like Bruce channeling Marky Smith from The Fall. Just like, it's like...
Yep.
Which is...
Bruce doing The Streets.
The Streets, yeah. Which is not really what you want, I agree.
Yeah, it just feels like the slog of fire continues a bit.
No, I think...
Which is a shame, because the individual elements of the song, I think, are really strong.
Yeah.
And as I said, good chorus, great riff, but as a whole song, it just doesn't cohese.
But to go back to his Krang interviews, interestingly, Bruce had reservations about the song because he was worried that the lyrical content and chorus, he thought it was too similar. People would make comparisons to Run to the Hills. Because it's like... But again, it kind of inverts it, right? Run to the Hills is a slightly teenage, like... raping the women and wasting the men.
It's sort of a teenager writing a history essay with no no compassion
Yeah.
whatsoever.
No, but with a verse of balance, right? It's like there's a verse from like the sort of the settler's point of view and a verse from a First Nation and American point of view, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this is an attempt at being like, you know, oh, there's no more Indians left to kill, like in a sort of like, you know, like, oh no, I've grown up, right? And I sort of see that.
But I mean, to
was
your
bad.
to your earlier reference to them, lyrically, this has like a bit of a Midnight Oil vibe to it. It's like, yeah, I'm going to care about real issues
Yes,
now.
yeah, it is.
Like,
yeah.
I'm going to care about indigenous people.
The chorus of
I'm not just a white
the Sacred
privileged
Cowboys
boy.
is actually very Midnight Oil. I could hear
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, very.
But again, Bruce doesn't mention it. But I'm like, I feel like he must have.
He must have listened to a lot of Midnight Oil.
He must have been listening to Diesel and Dust a lot, which is, and who can blame him? Because what an album. But yeah,
My knowledge of Midnight Oil is limited, but when I think of like Beds Are Burning, which I think is an incredible song,
oh yeah,
the verse vocals sound so weird.
oh yeah.
The guy's voice is so strange.
Peter Garrett, yeah.
Yeah. Like, to think that was such a big song with a voice that sounded sort of like Dave Mustaine trapped in a box.
Yeah, like sort of talking, like trapped inside a toad.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Dave Mustaine in the belly of a whale.
I mean, this is a real tangent now, but Peter Garrett was actually in the Australian government as a cabinet minister.
No way.
Yeah, he was in the Labour government in Australia. He was like the environment minister.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he was basically like Australia's Ed Miliband.
That is an artist putting their money where their mouth is. That is someone actually standing up and like, where's Bruce as an MP?
Well,
you know?
he's not in like, you know, the government, is he? He's not there as Starmer, just like Minister for Aviation.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce was pro-Brexit, so I hate to think what party he'd be in anyway.
Let's maybe not go down that route.
Although, maybe modern Labour, to be fair, which is not a good thing.
No.
Anyway.
So that's Sacred Cowboys. And then we get on to, I mean, what is undoubtedly, this is
the track of the album.
And the album's legacy, right?
Yeah.
If this album has much of a legacy, you know, which outside of the Maiden world, not so much, really.
I think this song transcends. Well, to be clear, we're talking about Tears of a Dragon, the ending track.
And also, we're still talking about a song. This is not Winds of Change, right? You know what I mean?
No.
Let's put it into perspective. Like
But this song transcends Bruce's solo career in that it's
in certain territories.
particularly in Brazil.
Yeah, particularly in South America.
In South America, this song is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Apparently. But I do think, like, even when I knew nothing about Bruce's solo career, this is a song I knew.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I think it is that.
Have we said it's Tears of a Dragon?
Sorry?
Have we said it's Tears of a Dragon?
Yeah, Tears of a Dragon.
Good.
But I think that's quite a common experience that you might not know Bruce's solo stuff, but you might know this and or the song Tattooed Midnight.
Yes, yeah, they are the two, aren't they?
That's about it. And then you'd be like, are these from two albums next to each other? Okay.
Well, yeah, but in a weird way, this is the most conventional song on the album.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's just a really good ballad.
But
just a good, you know, we talk about heart. This could be a heart song. Like, I could hear Ann Wilson.
Oh, man.
Like, pelting out Tears of a Dragon,
God,
right?
that would be good.
It would be good, wouldn't it? I'm surprised more people don't cover it. Because
maybe I just want Ann Wilson doing Bruce Dickinson sung songs. Like Ann Wilson and Heart.
There has been a lot of Ann Wilson throughout this episode, but yeah.
Yeah, because she's the best singer
She
ever.
is great. She's very good.
She is the greatest singer. But what's interesting about Tears of a Dragon being the most conventional track on the album is we talked about this being recorded in the Keith Olsen sessions. The Keith Olsen version of this is much less conventional because the rhythm and the guitar parts are much less acoustic ballady and more a little bit groovy.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Yeah.
oddly, on this groove-laden album, this song has had all the groove removed from it and turned into what is, for all intents and purposes, a song Blind Guardian should have written.
Yes.
In the late 90s.
Yeah.
Like this would fit into Nightfall in Middle Earth.
Yeah. Or indeed even, well, I think
Maybe even Someone Far Beyond. Like it's a Blind Guardian song.
Well, or it could even be like a sort of
It could be a Maiden
It's
song.
like a Night Ranger song. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it could be any sort of 80s rock band, really.
The lyrics don't mention girls enough for it to be a night.
Oh, yeah,
song.
true. I see what you mean. Yeah, lyrically,
Yeah.
it's more into sort of Dungeons and Dragons, Tolkien.
Yeah.
out that
Although
world.
I think in this song, the dragon is an allegory for Bruce, and
Yeah.
it's a whole introspective thing that doesn't
Whatever,
really land.
mate.
Yeah.
It's a dragon.
All I see is a crying
Yeah.
dragon. Okay.
It's got
like a
big
really
wings.
inconsolable beast.
I have no imagination. All I can see is a dragon.
To be fair, I watched a video of this song instead of like Bruce being at a beach in the waves, like
Yeah.
screaming in a billowing shirt. It was just a dragon crying.
Right.
And Bruce like gently consoling them. Oh, it'll be all right, dragon. Don't worry, it's not all bad. Chin up, mate.
It's the Bruce consoling a bit. I think that's the image I would stay with me.
You don't have to hoard your treasures. It's fine, dragon. It's fine. Forget about those hobbits. They'll get what's coming to them. There's a ring. There's a whole thing happening.
Stuff. But we said there's no groove other than reggae midsection.
Yeah, reggae midsection.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Okay, yeah. I always forget the reggae midsection exists, and then I listen to it. It's like, oh yeah, that's that.
It's like reggae midsection into ripping solo, back into sort of, tasteful ballad. But
Do you think this song would be better without the reggae midsection?
that's a good question.
I'm tempted to say yes.
It's like objectively, yes. Would I enjoy it more without it? No.
I think that's fair.
You see what I mean?
That's very fair.
Like,
yeah.
I enjoy it more with the
I'm
reggae
charmed
midsection.
by the reggae
yeah.
midsection.
Because it always makes me sort of smile because, like you said, you forget it's there. It's the sort of classic Bob Marley style chords, and you're like, and then just like, yeah, here's my just a little bit of shred,
Yeah.
and then we're back into it, and you're sort of going, did that happen? Did that bit of the song just exist, or it's like, oh, cool, no, it's back into it.
When we go through this album track by track, what the hell is it?
Well,
This is, I mean, it feels relatively consistent listening to it, but this is a stylistic smorgasbord.
it's a weird, it's not a cohesive album, is it?
Yeah.
Before we get on to more balls, well, don't worry, folks, we're not going to do this all again, but track by track with more balls to Picasso, we're just going to...
We'll do it much quicker.
Yeah, we'll just sort of summarise some of the main differences, but just a quick little overview of how this album was received at the time.
WTF. 4Ks.
Well, no, Krang, incredibly, seeing as they had Bruce on the cover so often, was so bold as to give it 3Ks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They gave more balls 4. But we do live in an era now where no one is going to say anything
No one
bad
is
about
gonna
anything Maiden does.
Give a Bruce or Maiden release less than...
Yeah. But interestingly, this is 94. It's like a 3K review that reads like a 2K review.
Okay.
So the quote I picked out, rather than going through the whole thing, was the journalist who reviewed it said, Balls to Picasso had the makings of a really great album instead of just a fairly decent one. Balls to Picasso is plain confusing. It's quite damning, isn't it?
It's pretty damning. Yeah, that doesn't read like 3K.
No, it reads like 2, doesn't it? It's like something of the makings of a great album instead of just a fairly decent one. It's plain confusing.
Yeah.
That's not a good review. It's not the kind of review you want.
No, not ideal.
And I think from what I've gathered about the wider reading, that seems like the general consensus of the times, that
yeah.
this is kind of... there's some good stuff here, but ultimately it's all a bit confusing and it's not really what we want. But
Soz Bruce.
Sauce Bruce, yeah. Better luck next time. Unfortunately for Bruce, next time is Skunkworks, and if anything, it just gets even...
I've never listened to Skunkworks.
Oh, well. Let's save that conversation for another day. Before we get into like our overall ratings, let's throw more Balls to Picasso into the mix then. So we've got a new version of Balls to Picasso now. Like we said, it's not simply just a remix. They've added new parts to it. So it's a reimagined version. Also, Roy Z does not seem involved in the new version at all.
Yeah, which is very strange. And
Yeah.
I mean, do we want to talk about the Roy Z stuff?
We may as well, because no one else is going to...
So yeah, the Roy Z stuff, Roy Z stuff is weird. Because like you say, he's not really involved in More Balls to Picasso.
No.
And originally when Bruce, obviously he was involved in the Mandrake project, and originally when Bruce...
Yeah, he wrote...
he wrote loads of it.
Yeah.
And he was originally tipped... I think they even announced he was going to be part of the touring band for Mandrake project and Bruce's solo band.
Yeah, someone announced it. I don't think it ever came from Bruce officially, but yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
it was announced somewhere, and then it was officially announced that he wasn't going to be part of the touring band, with the implication very much being that he had been at some point.
Yes, but he wasn't part of the touring band for the Balls to Picasso tour either.
No, that's true.
So it didn't raise too many alarm bells, and I think at the time Bruce said Roy's busy because he's doing these Dolby Atmos remixes of Skunkworks and
exactly.
stuff. And so he's going to be busy doing stuff for me in the studio. And so it was like, oh, okay, that's plausible, fine, yeah.
Yeah, like the way Bruce framed it is exactly that. It's like, no, he's not part of the touring band, which is disappointing, but there you are. He had a lot of stuff going on at home, and basically there's stuff he could be doing in the studio. He could be at home, and we're in the middle of doing Dolby Atmos mixes for all my back catalogue, blah, 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 blah. But what he specifically goes on to say is, so some of the albums that should have been, frankly, a bit heavier, like Balls to Picasso, we can stick some new stuff on. And so he mentions Balls to Picasso in the context of Roy Z staying home to remix and reimagine.
Yeah, so clearly, originally, More Balls to Picasso was intended to be helmed by Roy Z.
Yeah. But it hasn't been.
No.
In the end.
And I think I actually messaged you at the time because we've already had confirmation that Bruce is working on a new studio album.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, it's going great. We've got all the guys from the house band of Hell.
Yeah.
And he just didn't mention Roy Z's name.
No.
And I think I messaged you going, that's weird. Like, he's not mentioned the guy he's collaborated with for
most of his solo career.
At all. And then we get a bizarre social media spat between Roy Z and Bruce Dickinson's wife. Now wife.
So there's been a few things, right? So
yeah.
The first thing that you and I noticed, that obviously plenty of other people noticed, was Roy Z just made a post about one song on the Mandrake project originally being intended for Halford.
Yeah.
Just, I think, like as a bit of trivia. And then Bruce Dickinson's wife reposted that on Instagram. I was like, well, you can go write for him if you're ever able to write ever again. Like, clearly quite a sour grapes message. There was no other context for that.
No.
Whatsoever. But a few other things have cropped up over time now with Roy Z, particularly in the wake of More Balls to Picasso coming out, making a few comments himself. So, like, I saw a post from him the other day saying he posted the new version of Tears of the Dragon and said, I'm sorry, but the original is much better, or words to that effect. Like not particularly aggressive or anything, but a little bit of shade. But yeah, there definitely seems to be a falling out between the Roy Z, Bruce Dickinson camps. Like, they're clearly not collaborating anymore. And I fell into what I would call a Reddit rabbit hole about like what could be the source of this. And it's hard to find anything really solid. But there are two potential threads, both with a big caveat of who knows how true any of this is. This is all super alleged stuff.
This is two people speculating on the internet about what other people have speculated on the internet.
100%. But there could be something in some of them. So firstly, one of the social media posts from Roy was about the house band of Hell.
I saw that, yeah.
And him saying, I'm not in the house band of Hell, made sure of that, fuck Satan. That was about a year ago. And Roy Z...
That's quite an aggressive comment.
That's pretty aggy. And that implies some sour grapes on his behalf. But Roy Z is a born-again Catholic and allegedly might have taken ire with anything quote-unquote satanic in Bruce's work, and that could have been a cause of the rift. like just not being into heavy metal imagery in general. Feels a little bit far-fetched to me for him to suddenly have an issue with that stuff. But I mean, he has been criticizing the House Band of Hell just for being called the House Band of Hell. So who knows? And then the other potential reason I've seen floated, which I saw floated by someone on Reddit who claims to be in the know, which, you know, could just be complete lies, right? But you mentioned earlier Bruce's autobiography.
Yeah.
And apparently this is a long overdue fallout from the autobiography, because in that Bruce stated that Roy was a junkie when he was younger, something that Roy had already himself mentioned in interviews before. But then he got his life together through music, and that helped him sort of sort out that aspect of his life. But allegedly, some family members of Roy's read this in Bruce's autobiography and weren't too happy. And seemingly Roy had been completely unaware of this being in Bruce's book. And that's where the fallout stems from.
That's an interesting theory.
Now, I mean, this is some dude on Reddit saying, who seems to claim they were in the know and saying this is the source of it, and they're being cryptic about it. But I don't know. Something big has happened between these two.
Oh, yeah, because, at the moment, it seems like that collaboration that's produced so much good music is gone. Yeah.
And the takeout is that Roy Z is not involved in More Balls to Picasso, which is very strange considering, A, Bruce had publicly announced he would be involved in Balls to Picasso, and that's why he wasn't touring. But B, this album has Roy's fingerprints all over.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's like got a writing credit on every song other than Tears the Dragon, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very odd. It's just from a selfish point of view, it's just a massive shame, because I think
it really is a shame.
It's such a great collaboration, like the music they produced, and whatever we get from Bruce next, which seems like we won't have to wait all that long for it, is not going to have Roy involved at all.
No, which is really strange. But then, I guess coming back to More Balls to Picasso. So I guess the vision for this album was, we touched on before that, Bruce has kind of remarked, I mean, literally seconds ago, Bruce has remarked that it wasn't heavy enough, or there was label pressure to make it sound a certain way in terms of production, and actually wanted it to be this bigger thing. And so More Balls to Picasso seems to be Bruce and whoever else is involved doing exactly that. And then some. Basically. It's just like, okay, instead of remastering this, how can we just add layer upon layer to this to make it as big sounding as possible?
It has become, from what was quite a sort of dynamic record with lots of space and almost quiet sections, it has become a very big sounding record.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad, right? It's there are moments I think it really benefits from that, and others where you think, this sounds quite loud, despite the fact I appreciate I control the volume of the music. It just, no matter how quietly I listen to it, it just sounds very loud a lot of the time.
I think that's fair. I mean, it's a much bigger sounding album. It's heavier, it's denser, it's much more lushly layered. But also, I guess the trade-off is like, beyond just being louder, it's busier and a bit more overblown, and almost a bit more, because a lot of what they've done is made guitars denser and heavier. Like, that seems to be the core driving element. It feels a lot more homogenized towards the sound of Bruce's later solo albums.
Yes,
it fits the Bruce solo canon much more this way. Like, it sounds more in step with, say, Accident of Birth. But and as much as I really enjoy, I think More Balls to Picasso is really interesting.
Yeah, likewise. I think it's really good. And I think just listening to the riffs, like Laughing in the Hiding Bush now, you think, it needs that.
But I think
or Cyclops, the riffs sound bigger, and
but as you touched on, I think you'd lose some of the nuance.
That
made the original album really interesting.
Yeah, that's the trade-off.
And like you say, like riffs on stuff like Cyclops is so much more punchy, and like that heavy riff when it comes in is so much more powerful. But then on some like Hell No, the guitars are really full and brighter, and that's great. But then the groove of the percussion gets really drowned out. And instead sort of replaced with a much more classic hard rock beat where the snare sounds like a cannon.
And there's a lot of extra percussion on More Balls to Picasso, isn't there?
Yeah,
a lot of extra percussion.
Either they've like reamped and added samples to the original tracks, or they've just added new drum tracks altogether. But like, I think a lot of the percussion is standardized to a more hard rock percussion, or metal percussion. You lose, like, there's still the bits and pieces of that South American flavor, but you lose some of that vibe overall, which I do think is a shame.
Yeah. But I guess I can understand the logic, because no one is trying to erase the original, right? So it's like, if we're doing something different, let's give you something really quite different. And they have done that, to be fair.
And I think it's key. It's not being treated as a remaster. It is More Balls. It's a reimagining. It's a set thing.
It's not Ozzy doing Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman, where like we're going to quietly just sort of sub parts out and replace them.
Yeah, or it's not like the Megadeth remasters where there's literal different vocal tracks, and different drum sounds. It's not. Yeah, it's treated as its own thing.
Well, yeah, which is fine by me. And I really like it. Like you said, it's hard to know. It's not a case of it being better, but it is different, and
there are moments that I think are better.
Yeah.
So like 1,000 Points of Light, we kind of touched on.
Yeah, with the shred guitars in the chorus.
The shred guitar in the chorus.
Picking,
so cool.
Yeah.
Like, and like a big synth part underneath it as well. It's like, gives this whole song a much bigger dramatic feel. I really love that. It's tasteless, but I love it.
Oh, yeah. And also you've got like the brass section, the horns, and Shoot All the Clowns, which is great.
Yeah, I think with Shoot All the Clowns, it's a lot more fun and enjoyable having like a strong brass section to it. Like it's the thing that was missing from the song to make it to give it a vibe.
It feels like if the record company asked for Aerosmith, like now they finally got Aerosmith.
Yeah,
like this is
Horns is not out of line for Aerosmith.
No.
And then Change of Heart, though, I think is, you kind of remarked on it being like a Latino pop ballad. I think the More Balls version to it, with the introduction of like some sweeping synths and upping the percussion in the mix so that it's much louder, makes it sound like Enrique Iglesias. Yeah. Specifically. Like there's a really strong like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Vibe to it.
That's a good point. And then the other one is, I think what they've done with Tears of the Dragon is that song's a lot on More Balls.
Yeah, I'm less into the More Balls version of Tears. I think it's too cheesy now.
I think I said to you at the time, it's like if Jim Steinman produced it.
Yeah, but not enough like melodramatic piano to be Jim Steinman.
Yeah, it's almost, and this isn't. I really like the new version. I think I would like it more new, but I think audibly laugh out loud because it's so melodramatic.
Yeah,
like, and you almost think, yeah, you really are probably trying to squeeze too much out of this lemon at this point.
Well, I think overall it's a really interesting way to revisit the album.
I also wish more bands did it. I'd be up for it. Like,
considering that. I mean, less so nowadays, but for a while in the noughties, there was a big drive to sort of re-record classic material.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said for this still being the original material, but augmented.
Yes, yeah, and just like adding and enhancing and...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about, like, I'll be totally honest, I've probably given... in the time it's been out, more Balls to Picasso, more time than I ever gave Balls to Picasso.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And surprising.
And I'm not saying it's better, but I'm saying I didn't... and I've actually, obviously, particularly in the run-up to this, I've gone back to the original as well. And I've got renewed appreciation for the whole thing that I've not really had before. I always thought it was very patchy, a few decent things on it. You know,
I've always had a soft spot for it.
Yeah, no, so I think actually you were probably more into it than I was. I was always a bit like, yeah, Cyclops is good, Laughing in the Hiding Bush, Tears of the Dragon, and the rest of it is a bit meh. But now I've gone back to it, and you're right. I'm like, oh no, you've got 1,000 Points of Light. I really like Sacred Cowboys.
I think it's probably a better album than Tattooed Millionaire.
Yes, you're right.
At the very least, a more interesting album.
It's definitely a more interesting album.
But I think probably better, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and I maybe
Like not even talking about the More Balls version.
no, but I probably
version.
wouldn't have agreed with you until quite recently. But I think you are right now. Yeah, I think interesting.
Yeah.
Shall we then give it a... Well, should we do our best of the beast and worst of the rest in terms of the tracks? Your favourite track, your least favourite track?
Best of the Beast for me is probably 1,000 Points of Light.
Interesting, okay.
I mean, I could go with Tears of the Dragon, right?
Yeah.
Like, because that is the song off it, but you're going to pick that. So I'm going to go 1,000 Points of Light.
Yeah, I was having an hard about it for ages, but since you've not picked it, I'm definitely going to pick it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, it is the right choice, but that aside, it's 1,000 Points of Light for me.
And worst of the rest?
I think Fire is maybe my least favorite track.
Okay.
All the other tracks, there's like something, just reading the song titles, I kind of remember bits about them that I enjoy. I think Fire is probably the least memorable to me.
Well, I'm going to go for Best of the Beast. Obviously Tears of a Dragon.
Yeah.
I appreciate for this whole thing I've been going back and forth between Tears of a Dragon and Tears of the Dragon. Is it there?
It's Tears of the Dragon.
Sorry, okay. Let's just right at the end.
I've been very pointedly saying Tears of the Dragon for the last hour and a half.
I imagine all the people listening. I say all 5 of the people listening.
Screaming.
Why the hell does he keep saying Tears of a Dragon?
Call this a maiden nerd podcast.
Sam's literally been telling him the whole time. Sorry, Tears of the Dragon is my Best of the Beast. But it's quite... I really like Laughing in the Hiding Bush as well.
Yeah, that's a cool song.
But my...
Another match?
Yeah.
It's Bruce.
It's got to be... what's his name? His name is Doug Van Boeven. Not even doing my worst of the rest, Sam. I'm going to go for Hell No, I think.
As your worst?
Worst, yeah. I think so.
I don't think it's that bad.
Well, I don't think it's that bad either.
I take your point about it like sucking the momentum out of it.
But that's the interesting thing about this, because I think if that's my worst song on the album, I don't even think it's a bad song.
And that's a good album.
Well, it is a good album, but why is it not really regarded as a good... Why have I, for that quite a long time, not especially regarded it as being an especially good album? And I think that's just because stylistically and the track listing is just a bit of a mess.
Yeah,
because the individual songs are all quite good, but you put them all together in a package and they don't really make much sense together.
I think that's very true. But I also think there's a very strong possibility that you and I have gone so far off the deep end that, we have no standards.
Yeah, that's
anymore. Also
quite true.
Like I was reading some general receptions to the Matt Drake project earlier when I was in like this Reddit rabbit hole. And people do not regard that album as well as we do.
Do they?
People are quite scathing about the Matt Drake project.
Well, they're wrong.
I think they're wrong, but I also think we might...
And if you're listening to this, you need to have a good hard look at yourself in the mirror, because it is a good album.
But I also do think there's probably a fair amount of you and I maybe just drowning in Kool-Aid when it comes to Bruce solo stuff.
Yeah, I imagine if you gave this album to someone on the street, they'd be like, what is this dross? Yeah. But,
What's a hiding bush?
Yeah. I still think they're wrong, Sam. And
yeah.
But also,
that's fine. It's our podcast. We could be as horribly opinioned as we want.
And I'm prepared to say this for myself. I would have, a couple of years ago said, yeah, it's all right. Balls to Picasso. Right. I'd be like, yes, it's fine. I would not have rated it all that highly, but I'm actually rating it much higher now. So,
wow.
What does that say?
It says with age, your standards diminish even more.
All my critical faculties. I once was able to be semi-objective about things, but...
The cruel passage of time you no longer are able to discern good content.
Now, as we get to the end of this episode, the eagle-eyed listener doesn't work. You can't really be an eagle-eyed listener.
Eagle-eared.
Do eagles have good hearing, though?
I assume so.
Well, yeah, probably. They're good at everything, aren't they?
Okay, the elephant-eared listener
might have noticed that we've not talked about the artwork. The simple reason being,
it's not artwork.
No, what is there to say about it?
We already mentioned there was a photo of Bruce in a toilet in Germany.
Well, it may be a toilet. It's Bruce looking very how Bruce thought the 90s looked like.
I've got a beanie.
I've got a beanie on. I'm wearing black. I've got my arms folded. I look serious.
My hair's still very long though.
The hair, yeah, it's not. It's
not a fringe anymore.
Well,
Welcome to the 90s.
It's hard to tell because he's got a beanie on, hasn't he?
No, yeah, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have
the
a fringe at
had
this
gone,
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a bad album cover, isn't it?
It's awful album
it's
cover.
Really bad.
And I
wonder
would.
We spoke about Dance of Death already. It's not that calamitous, but
I wouldn't be surprised if people write this album off just on the basis of seeing that cover.
yeah, it's a terrible cover.
Looks like dog shit.
It's really bad. Yeah, that's all I can say about it.
Yeah.
Really. It's just so.
Well, a bit of trivia was originally the artwork when it was going to be. I'm looking at Wikipedia right now, but when it was going to be called "Laughing in the Hiding Bush," the artwork was originally by Storm Thurgerson of Psygnosis. No,
Yeah, Hypnosis.
Hypnosis.
Yeah.
Sorry, Psygnosis is a game developer of Hypnosis, and
Who Bruce had collaborated with doing the Tattooed Millionaire
yeah.
videos. Yeah.
But Bruce couldn't afford the artwork, so
Because he spent all his money.
making 2 albums that didn't go anywhere.
Okay, interesting.
So I'd be curious to see what that was like.
I wonder if presumably that's in the Hypnosis vaults.
Thorgerson's artwork later ended up as the cover for the Anthrax album Stomp 442.
Oh,
We're all learning live as I read the Wikipedia page out to everyone.
I mean, this is a very different podcast now. Isn't it? just going on Wikipedia together.
We just read the Wikipedia article and react. Like, that's a episode, right?
Has anyone done that live reactions to Wikipedia? Like, when we do a Matter of Life and Death by Maiden, should we just read it out and just live react and go, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
No, don't worry. This won't be the normal approach. It's just, I thought that was some interesting trivia that I'd half read
but
whilst
I am
talking.
actually conjuring up in my mind, i.e. my phone, the Stomp 442 artwork by Anthrax.
It's the big circle
Yeah.
with like junk and people and stuff.
That would have been so... I honestly...
It's a much cooler and a much more of the
cooler.
time artwork.
Having said that, it didn't really do Anthrax any favours because Stomp 442 is not well regarded. But
No.
but
it would have been better than the Balls to Picasso.
yeah, it might have done Bruce a few favours, actually.
Yeah.
Ah, that is interesting. So overall then, we don't typically tend to give the albums ratings. Did we give Tattooed Millionaire a rating?
I don't think we did. I mean, if we did, I think I probably gave it a 7 out of 10. And then I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I was
a
about to say-
different 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, I think this is probably slightly better, but I don't think it's that much better.
No. But I mean,
And I also quite enjoy Tattooed Millionaire.
yeah, exactly. I mean, if people do want a rating in a very informal way, I think, yeah, there still is a 7 for me.
Yeah.
But you're right, it is a more interesting album than Tattooed Millionaire. I guess Tattooed Millionaire scores points for being... It feels like a very cohesive record. It all makes sense.
And it's got some proper bangers on it.
Yeah, and some, big songs.
But I think if you're leaving a band like Iron Maiden and you want to go solo to do something different and out there, this is it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it didn't work, but this is much more of an artistic step forward than dive.
yeah. Zulu Lulu. Yeah. Interesting. And I mean, if you've made it this far and you've still not listened to the record, it's definitely worth your time, isn't it? As a listener to go, it is. There's definitely stuff in there I think you'll find rewarding. So, shall we finish up as we usually do these days by
Recommendations?
the feature that has no name.
Not Bruce Dickinson or Iron Maiden related. What have you been listening to this week?
So I have not even this week. This is a band, Sam, I discovered today.
Oh my God. Wow, that is up to date.
This is hot off the press, but I've listened to this album twice today.
Wow.
Okay, so it's and this was spurred on by the fact that I saw a band who've already had a shout out in the segment, Forlorn, whose album Ether I'm very very fond of.
Very good album.
Yeah, great album.
After you recommended them, I just went very deep into that album.
Yeah,
That's great.
It's good stuff. They're coming back and playing a show in Cardiff later this year.
Ally.
Yeah, great days. But they're co-headlining with a band who I'd not previously heard of called Caligram.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I'm definitely going anyway because I want to see Forlorn.
Yeah.
Better listen to Caligram. Turns out Caligram are just a really brilliant British black metal band who are signed to Prosthetic Records. They've got 2 albums out. Just quite hard to... I mean, other than black metal, they are black metal, but there's riffs in there that are almost kind of techie prog, but then also atmospheric bits. But ultimately, it is black metal. If you don't like black metal, don't bother. Really, because that's what it is.
You need that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
You don't like black metal,
don't bother. Yeah. But yeah, I was just in a world where there's a lot of black metal.
Yeah.
Some of it good, some of it
Varying qualities.
quite bad. Yeah. Or just more often than not, just really average. Caligram. I was like, oh, this is a band I'd have seemingly escaped my radar, but I was like, oh, great. I was looking forward to seeing Forlorn. Now I get to see Forlorn and Caligram in what looks like a tiny room in Cardiff in October, November.
What a time to be alive.
So get yourself down, buy me a pint. It's a Saturday. I don't have to work the next day. So
Yay.
Sam will probably be there. I've not asked him to stay out directly, but I imagine I
I want to see Forlorn, so
there you go.
I'll probably be there.
Buy us a pint.
I also don't have a life, so...
So he needs a pint, folks, because, you know. But yeah, so Caligram, that's what I'm listening
Okay, I'll check them out. Sounds
to.
nice.
Yeah, their album from 2023, which is called, I mean, you could just look this up for yourself, but it's so good. Listen to it twice. It's called Position Momentum.
Strong name.
Yeah. What have you been listening to, Sam?
I got 2 things. I have been listening to the new album by Phantom Spell, who are a one-person prog rock project by Kyle McNeil, who is the other guitarist in Seven Sisters. This is a solo band. It's just very elaborate 70s informed prog, but like really fantastically well done. Their new album, Heaven and Hearth, is just, if you really like synths, I can't recommend it enough.
Oh, I love
synths and widdly guitars. It is cool. It's a really fun album. And then I've also been listening to the new Alice Cooper album, which is the reformation of the Alice Cooper
I've
band.
not listened to that yet.
Under Bob Ezrin producing it. And it's better than it has any right being.
Okay.
It sounds sort of like Muscle of Love era Alice Cooper band, but with a slightly more modern production. It's not mind blowing or anything, but it's quite a fun record, and it's better than I expected it to be, because I was expecting it to suck. If I'm honest, so I'm pleasantly surprised that it's a 7 out of 10.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, sometimes that's what you want to have, a nice 7 out of 10 album.
Yeah, I mean, also considering the Alice Cooper solo album previous to it, Road, was not for me.
Good.
It's a nice change.
It's 10 out of 10 according to Powerplay, Sam.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think they gave it 9 or 10. That was on the poster I saw all over Cardiff advertising it. I think Powerplay gave it 10 out of 10. Or 9 out of 10.
That is unhinged.
It was definitely a 9 or a 10.
That is not correct. that is a misprint.
But good to hear he's even at the ripe old age of 70 whatever.
77.
Okay.
The same age as my dad.
Is your dad doing any garage rock albums?
No, he stopped touring years ago.
Yeah, fair. that's like all the greats. He quit
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maintained his legacy. Is now a recluse.
So, if you want more Maiden content, Bruce content, or Sam's dad content, follow us on the socials.
You can find us on Instagram at MaidenPod, which is our main social profile. That's where we do most of our updates, so please follow that one.
Yeah.
We do still have accounts on Blue Sky and X under at MaidenPod, but being completely honest, we don't use them as much because the Instagram one works the best for us.
Yeah.
But you can also email us at maidenvoyagerspod@gmail.com. I think that's the email address, and I know I say this every week, but just look at all the links on the show notes that go out with every
People
episode.
can give us money, Sam.
And yep, you can top up our Trooper Fund on our
How long's
Ko-fi.
this episode? How long's this episode now?
It's nearing 2 hours.
Well, okay, so what's minimum wage now? It's like 13 quid an hour, right? So, really, we should both have about 26 quid each to show for this.
If it wasn't clear, Blevin is a mercenary, whereas I just do this for the fun.
But really, I know at least, let's do the maths here, 52 people will listen to this episode.
Yeah,
If every
get
one
more
of
than
those-
52 people per episode.
If every one of those people gave us £1, we'd get minimum wage. So,
Well, you heard it here first. Our livelihoods depend on you contributing £1 on Ko-fi.
yeah, £1 each on Ko-fi, and we would actually, we wouldn't be doing this for nothing.
Well, not even nothing. We're doing this at quite a significant loss. We have to pay for hosting and a few other things. We have not made much.
I spent £6.50 on a 4-pack of Speckle, and no one's reimbursing me for that.
Nope.
Unless
not even
you want to go on the Ko-fi, £6.50. put in like the sort of description speckled hen. That'd be great.
I think we should end it there.
Yeah,
if I'm
that's
honest.
probably a good point to end
What a
on.
weird note to end on. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.